Okay, we're going to begin. We have an honored guest who will be here, who is here, but must be on the phone. Maybe this is...
That's it.
There he is. Okay, so perfect time. So, welcome everyone to the swearing in of all of our public officials and boards and commissions. This is always one of my favorite events that we do every 2 years. All of you are instrumental in keeping this town operating. This year we have, as always, a superb group of people, wonderful qualifications, dedicated and committed people, and this is the first time in a long time where I think, and I've been told, we had more people wanting to be on boards and commissions than we had spaces for. So that's a really good sign, and hopefully it keeps going year after year from now on in. I know it's hot, and I know we've had you sitting there for the last 10 or 15 minutes, so we're going to begin as soon as possible now. And I'm going to call on Reverend Shepherd Parsons to give us the invocation. Reverend?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. That's what I want to hear. Come on, you guys. What a beautiful day. It's really amazing. I used to have a seersucker suit, but it's worn bare, so I got this light wool 3-season suit, and I realized today is not the season for it. And First Selectman told me to take off my jacket, and I told her she hadn't been sworn in yet, so I didn't have to. I want us to take just a moment, and I want us to be still and listen. What's going on in our world right now? Mowing the yard, police communicating. It's amazing what happens when we listen. And my hope and desire is that all of you who will be sworn in today practice the art of listening. We don't learn a lot by talking, but we learn more about our community and each other, about their desires and needs if we listen. We even learn more about our opponents and people we might think of enemies if we listen. So I admonish you on this day to listen. Let us pray. O God, who is above all the powers of the earth, we gather this afternoon to bestow upon these elected officials the authority to serve the people of this community we call Woodbridge. We give you thanks for the mingling of minds and personality, for the clash of provocative thought and expression, for the great variety of skills, talents, and gifts represented here today. Let your spirit of love and compassion flow into our lives, that all these abilities may be used to bring prosperity and well-being and justice to our precious town, to our beloved country, and into the world in which we all live. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Will you all now stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now I would like to call on Geneva O'Hara to sing America the Beautiful. Geneva. all stand?
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plains. America, America, thy shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrims feet, whose stern impassioned stress a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, America, Lord, mend thine every flaw. Confirm thy soul in self-control, thine liberty and love.
Thank you. That was lovely. I'd like to acknowledge the first selectman-elect of the town of Bethany, Ms. Co-Francis. Are you elect or are you the actual first
Tomorrow
select?
I get sworn.
Tomorrow. You're still first selectman-elect. Congratulations. And now we're going to go right into our swearing in, the reason we're all here today. And I'd like to call up Senator Blumenthal, who's a great friend of the town of Woodbridge, fighting in the United States Senate every day for people of the state. Really a leader, and who's doing a fabulous job, and we're all proud of his service to the state of Connecticut.
Thank you.
Senator Blumenthal, if you want to come up and say a few words, and then we can do
Thank you so much, Jerry, and thank you for your extraordinary service to Woodbridge and to the state of Connecticut. And thank you to the town of Woodbridge. I am very proud of being a friend, I hope a good friend of Woodbridge. I love the town, and you can see why looking at this classic, quintessentially American picture today of democracy in action on a exquisitely beautiful day. I want you to know I'm not playing hooky. I voted this morning in the Senate, and I was a little bit late arriving because the plane was late getting out of Washington. But I am really grateful and just want to say thank you for letting me participate, but also thank you from my heart to the men and women who are giving of themselves to the town and to our state. I know that these jobs, and I say this without any false modesty, these jobs are far more difficult than mine on many days. I have to make some tough decisions, but, you know, when they don't like me in Woodbridge, I can always go to Stamford. When they don't like me in Stamford, I would always go to Hartford, and if they don't like me anywhere in Connecticut, I can stay in Washington. But I never stay in Washington. I always come back to Connecticut every weekend. But if you're Beth Heller or any of these office holders, you're here. You can't run, you can't hide, and you have to grapple with decisions on the ground every day. And do your best without regard to party and all of the politics that seems to be so unfortunate these days in its effect on our national government. And we just passed, fortunately, the National Defense Authorization Act by an overwhelming bipartisan majority. We did it yesterday. And I hope that we can learn a lesson from towns like Woodbridge that come together after the election, it's done, and we work together for the common good. And you have some extraordinary people to be sworn in today, and I will try to do it as efficiently as possible and as faithful to the law as possible, but you can correct me if I get any of it wrong. So first, I'm going to ask Beth Heller to please come forward. Raise your right arm. Okay. You, Beth Heller, solemnly swear that you will faithfully perform, according to law, the charter and ordinances of the town of Woodbridge, the general statutes of the state of Connecticut, and to the best of your ability, the duties as first selectman for the term for which you have been elected. So help you God.
I will. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, you have to listen to me first. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining me today to celebrate this event, which is both traditional and meaningful. Acknowledgement and special thanks to Jerry Weiner for serving as Master of Ceremonies today, Reverend Parsons, Evie O'Hara, lovely, and U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal for being part of our ceremony. Most importantly, thank you to all the employees and staff of the town of Woodbridge, hi guys, for helping me serve all the residents of Woodbridge. I couldn't do it without you. Congratulations to all of the newly elected officials here today, and congratulations to all of the new and returning appointees to our town's boards and commissions. I wish to repeat a quote I shared 2 years ago as I was sworn in for my first term. President John Fitzgerald Kennedy said at his swearing in, quote, "We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom." This was a wise beginning to his famous inaugural speech. Kennedy recognized that beyond party affiliations, we share common ideals and respect for our democratic traditions, values, and institutions. Town government is thankfully not as complex as federal government, but town government has a long and cherished tradition in the history of the United States of America, the experiment in self-government in which all of us are privileged to share. We value free speech, the expression of ideas, including those that differ from our own. We value diversity, and we respect one another. As residents of Woodbridge, we are privileged to live in a charming and bucolic town surrounded by natural beauty. I have been honored and humbled to serve as your first selectman for the past 2 years. I welcome this responsibility because of my continued firm belief in the principles of self-government, where we work together to build the future of our town. I remain committed to town government that is open, inclusive, and transparent, one that promotes discussion and healthy debate, but values civility and mutual respect. Together, we have accomplished much over the past 2 years, including completion of some capital projects that were on the drawing board for a few years. A wheelchair ramp and ADA accessible bathroom has been constructed at our senior center. Also using state grant funds, police department carports and a new radio antenna have been completed. We're in the final stages of installation of an upgraded state-of-the-art public safety radio system to protect our first responders and our citizens. We have substantially completed construction of Phase 1 improvements to our district animal shelter. We can all take pride in our modernized animal shelter, which will help to ensure the continued excellent adoption rate this department achieves. We have also come to consensus on a plan for the shared use space of the old firehouse that enhances the value of this historic asset. As work on this renovation project continues in 2019, the town will again benefit from steep grant funds. We completed an LED streetlight upgrade, which is saving money and helping our environment by allowing our town to be more energy efficient. I'm also very proud that we earned a bronze certification in the Sustainable Connecticut program, receiving statewide recognition of Woodbridge's past and current sustainability achievements. In addition, we're making progress on initiatives that promise to bear fruit in the coming months. We came to consensus on a location for the dog park and are awaiting word on the results of private fundraising efforts that promise to make this project a reality in the near future. Regarding a long-term plan for the former country club property, we have chosen a developer and are moving forward on a plan to hold a referendum for the voters to decide use of approximately 60 acres of the 150 acres for age-restricted housing, which will also include leaving almost 2/3 of the property for residential recreational use. We will continue to take creative approaches to managing our resources with further vendor consolidation, elimination of redundancy, sharing services with neighboring towns and school districts, and increasing our focus on expanding the commercial tax base. From my continued participation in the South Central Regional Council of Governments, where I serve as Vice Chairman, and through our town's membership in regional organizations such as the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities and the Council of Small Towns, we continue to make the connections necessary to advance discussions of shared service and consolidation efforts that would be beneficial to Woodbridge. We have worked hard with members of our business community, listening and acting to address their needs and promoting their success as we re-energize our Economic Development Commission. With the planting of Arden's Garden at the entrance of the town green just across the road, right over there, we began to enhance the town center and create public spaces with new benches where residents can pause and relax. We have put together a comprehensive beautification plan to guide additional public-private partnerships that will allow residents to contribute to enhancements in this area. Our Sustainability Committee is helping to address the increasing cost of solid waste management our town budget is beginning to experience. By educating and involving the community in ways their households can reduce, reuse, and recycle, we will aim to decrease the weight of trash that we dispose of and increase composting, recycling, and other reuse options to help protect our environment. The Revitalized Community Council is sponsoring new events and resident involvement is increasing. As we spend time with our neighbors, we're making Woodbridge a more welcoming and friendly community. So, as we work together over the next 2 years, I will continue to support investments of time and resources to preserve and enhance our quality of life consistent with our shared values, while maintaining our recognized highest standards for planning and fiscal responsibility. As I have said many times over the past 2 years, town government at its best is an inclusive process aimed at addressing the concerns and aspirations of all constituents. As a citizen of our town, you have the opportunity to shape its future. I am optimistic and committed to listening to each of you and ensuring that every voice is heard as we continue to work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you very much. Now we'd like to move on to our elected members of the Board of Selectmen. Mika Cardozo, could please come forward. Joseph Crisco, who is excused for today. He's in California for his grandson's wedding, which is very nice. Joe Dye, Dwight Rowland, and Sandy Stein. Up here, and Richard Blumenthal.
That was wonderful, Beth. And I know you'll keep up the great work. Thank you. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully perform according to law, the charter and ordinances of the town of Woodbridge, the general statutes of the state of Connecticut, and to the best of your ability, your duties as a member of the Board of Selectmen will help you God? Congratulations.
Congratulations. A couple more. Now we're going to go to our elected Board of Education. The Woodbridge Board of Education, Jeffrey Hughes, Todd Jokel, Lynn Piazzik, Joyce Shavers, Jeffrey Townsend. and the Woodbridge Board of Education, the Regional Board of Education, Sheila McCrevin and Patrick Reed. Please step forward for your oath.
Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully perform according to law, the charter and ordinances of the town of Woodbridge and the general statutes of the state of Connecticut, and to the best of your abilities and duties as a member of the Board of Education, the term for which you have been so elected? So help you God. Congratulations.
Okay, we're on to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Frank Charliglio, Sean Flynn, Cynthia Gibbons, Joy Prudhomme. Please step forward.
Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully perform according to law, the charter, and ordinances of the town of Woodbridge, the general statutes of the state of Connecticut, and to the best of your abilities, your duties as a member of the Board of Assessment Appeals for the term for which you have been so elected? So help you God. Congratulations.
Now we've completed our elected boards and commissions, and I'd like to ask anyone that's present who has been appointed to boards and commissions to please step forward and you can take your oath from Senator Blumenthal. So all appointed boards and commissions, anyone here? One, two, all right, anyone else? Okay.
You're doubling up. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully perform, according to the law, the charter, and ordinances of the town of Woodbridge, the general statutes of the state of Connecticut, and to the best of your ability, the duties as a member of the board or office for which you have been appointed, so help you God? Congratulations.
So I think we've covered everyone. Is there anyone that needs to be sworn in, that wants to be sworn in? Senator is here. Even if you're not on the board or commission, come on. No, I'm only kidding. Please all remain. We have refreshments inside. It's much cooler. And again, I thank you all very, very much for attending. Have a good weekend. Thank you.